Hey everybody, how's it going? In this video, I will be showing you how by building a super easy and lean Airtable system, you could be saving tens of hours a week for different use cases. In this case, the use case is parsing invoices. So assuming you handle multiple invoices per day and you need to manually extract the information from it, you could be using a system as this one. Basically, this is our interface. We'll now, in a couple of minutes, we'll go to the backend of it to see how it works. But basically, if we upload a given invoice, the system itself will be doing the following. If I create a new invoice, will be created here by default, status as pending, and you'll see how category has been generated by AI by extracting information from it. And in a matter of seconds, we will see how different invoice line items are created for it. Given the corresponding invoice line items, we get to see an invoice total right here, right? So this is fully done by AI. However, we do need to help the AI to do the work, and that's how and why we'll build the backend in this way. What we have right here is a table for invoices, right? Where basically we have the attachment field. We have a link to invoice line item table, which we'll discuss in a minute. We have a roll up from there. So that's, for the time being, let's just hide these two fields. Fields corresponding to invoices are the attachment, the category, which, as you can see, category is an AI field. So if we create a new field, sorry, not there, but here, right? We will be able to select categorize records, and the data we will be using to such effect, or the field, is the attachment field, okay? And we could select different options as to what kind of categories we could use. So in this case, we could say something like technology services, affiliate payouts, so on and so forth. Like, you get the sense, right? In that sense, we've got category right there. We've got payment status. Payment status could be either payment pending or paid or whatever you feel like it, right? By default, I set this to payment pending, and that will be manually changed once payment has been made for such invoice. And for last, what I'm doing here is I have an auto number field type, which will just increase as I create new records, right? On our formula field, we have an invoice or end. We're concatenating, right? End and the auto number. Now, if you want, you could definitely get the AI to extract this information as well, and through or via an automation to push it there. That's not what we'll be doing now, as the idea of this video is to keep it super simple. So let's jump right to the invoice line items table. What do we have right here? We have quantity, as if you take a look at the corresponding invoice right here, what we have is a description, a quantity, a unit price, and the total, right? So these are kind of the fields that I also want to have in my architecture. If the invoices you are using differ from this, you'll want to set up a different Airtable architecture. However, it will probably look something like that. Now, if we go back to the invoice line items table, what you'll see is that we have, I believe I mentioned this, the quantity and the amount. These are, at least the amount field is something that is being rolled up right here, given that we have a linked record to the invoice line items table, and we have a roll up field, which is getting the sum out of the amount field from the invoice line items table. So now, the way in which the automation works is, if we go to the automations, you'll see that we have two different automations. This one right here is turned off. It's like a more technical or sophisticated way in which to handle this, as it is using a script both to get certain information and to create records. However, what we're doing and what we'll be going through is this other script, which is way leaner. The idea is that the script gets triggered once a record matches certain conditions, where on the invoice table, and conditions are when attachment is not empty, okay? Then we have a generate with AI action block. This, do remember that you need to be under a paid Airtable plan in order to use it. And the prompt that we are using is, hey, attachment, take a look at this, right? This is a mapped field, and you would map it by clicking there and selecting the corresponding attachment field. Attachment contains an invoice. Within it, you'll find invoice line items. Each line item will have description, quantity, and amount. Please output a JSON, this is super important, with list of each invoice and each value. Do not output anything different to the JSON. So the JSON will provide a format that our script that I will be sharing with you should use. The script, by the way, this one right here, I will share it with you, but it was generated with ChatGPT. So this is definitely something that you should be able to do. What we are doing basically is we are providing certain inputs, such as the record ID, which was, so take a look at the following. What you should map here is the record ID of the record which triggered the automation. And right here, you should be using as invoice JSON, the output of what has been generated, right? The JSON looks like this, okay? Then our script, what it will be doing is once it runs, and by the way, once again, I will be sharing this in the description, you will get as an output an iteration of the corresponding line items found. As you can see, each line item comes with its own description, its quantity, its amount, and the record ID of the invoice. Now, as next step, what we have right here is a repeat for each, meaning that's a repeating group, right? So take a look at the following. This is super dirty, but you will get it right here, right? Repeating group. Within the repeating group, you will be able to set the corresponding input list, which is set right here. So you would say, okay, as input list, get the output of the script. And for last, given that the script is providing, as you can see, the following information, this information is information that we will be mapping within each of the new records created. So what I did is I got the description field, I got the quantity field, I got the amount field, and the invoice fields. These are all fields corresponding to our invoice line items table. So let me just delete this so that you can see how this is mapped. Basically, we choose a new field, we'll say description. We choose a new field, we'll say quantity. We choose a new field, we say amount. New field, invoice, and this is how we map them. So for description, we want to bring the description from the current line item being iterated within the repeating group, right? So description will say, hey, for the current item from line items, which is the output of the script, get me the description. For the quantity, make it dynamic, meaning that I'm making reference to a data point from a previous step, and for it, get me the quantity. For amount, make it dynamic, blue plus button, amount. And for last, the invoice, we could either be, sorry for that. We could either make reference to the invoice, or we could just reference the record ID of the record which triggered the automation, which is the invoice itself. So by doing that, the automation is all set. For sure, you do need to be under a paid plan to get both the generate with AI and the run script, and you should give it a shot. So now, once again, if we go to interfaces, by the way, this is, take a look at the following. This is a record review layout, which has a couple of different groups, such as this one, and a couple of number elements. And this is a view of the corresponding linked record corresponding to the line items, okay? So that's pretty much the setup. Let's run this one last time just to see how this works. There we go. And once again, depending on the format and the fields on your invoices, what it is that you'll need to have your AI to extract and generate. So prompt might be different in your case. Feel free to play around with it. Do remember that the important aspect of it is that you need to get your generate AI action block within the automation to output one specific JSON, okay? The JSON is what will be used as an input within the script. So once again, this has worked. It's generating the line items, it's extracting the corresponding information for them, and we've got a roll-up. Calculating the sum of all line items. Okay. Hope you enjoyed. Please let me know if you have any questions.